and introduce the today's resource person, Dr. V. Bhuvaneshwari, Associate Professor and Head, UG Department of Biotechnology. Madam, please.
Hello, ma'am. Hello. Hello.
Amsaveni, ma'am, to proceed.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Happy morning to all. Myself, Dr. Amsaveni, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Biotechnology. On behalf of Kongunadu Arts and Science College, I feel happy to welcome you all for the fourth day of this webinar series on vistas in the fields of research and innovations. On this occasion, I have great pleasure to pay my gratitude to our beloved President, Dr. M. Arishami, sir, for his blessings. I extend my welcome to Madam Dr. C. A. Vasugi, Secretary and Director of a college, to our beloved Principal, Dr. M. Lakshmanasamy, sir, Dr. V. Chinnusamy, sir, Chief Executive Officer, Dr. S. Paulsamy, sir, Dean R&D, and Dr. S. R. Madan Shankar, sir, Dean Academics for this webinar. I extend my welcome to the convener of this webinar series, Dr. D. Vijayalakshmi, ma'am, Coordinator, Dr. M. Vigneshwaran, sir, Organizing Secretaries, Dr. M. Revati Bala, ma'am, and Mr. N. Sendil Kumar, sir. And my special welcome to the resource person of this session, Dr. V. Bhuvaneshwari, ma'am. I wholeheartedly welcome all the participants who have joined this webinar. With this note, I feel proud to introduce the eminent speaker of this session, Dr. V. Bhuvaneshwari, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Biotechnology, UG, Kongunadu Arts and Science College, who is going to deliver her talk on the topic Nucleic Acid-Based Diagnosis of COVID-19 in India. Madam Dr. V. Bhuvaneshwari started her teaching journey since 2004, and currently she is working as Associate Professor and Head in Biotechnology at Kongunadu Arts and Science College. She has 10 years of teaching experience and 6 years of research experience. She has completed her BSc Biotechnology at Kongunadu Arts and Science College, MSc Biotechnology at Bardiyar University, MPhil at Bharathidasan University, PhD in Biotechnology at Amity University, Noida. She has completed UGC minor research project from 2014 to 2016. And currently she is the principal investigator in DST TAR major research project. She has filed 3 final Indian patents, and one of her innovation on a method for DNA protein interaction in plants was granted in the year 2019. She has about 61 research publications in reputed international journals with cumulative impact factor of around 30. And she has organized, attended, presented research papers, and served as resource person in various seminars, conferences, and workshops. She has guided 150 UG and PG projects, 3 MPhils, and 6 PhDs. And currently, she is guiding 1 MPhil and 3 PhDs. She has published 3 books and 27 articles in books. She is currently acting as institutional member in Animal Ethical Committee. She was elected as committee member in New Biology Section, Indian Science Congress Association, editorial member in various reputed journals, coordinator for MHRD's Institutional Innovation Council, and coordinator for KAC iHub. With these words, I would like to welcome Dr. V. Bhuvaneshwari, ma'am, to take over the session. Ma'am, please. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Amsaveni, for giving me an introduction. Good morning to one and all present here. I am going to present nucleic acid-based diagnosis of COVID-19 in India. First of all, I would like to quote Thiruvalluvar's Thirukkural, நோய் நாடி நோய் முதல் நாடி அது தணிக்கும் வாய் நாடி வாய்ப்பச் செயல். As per this Thirukkural, first we should find the disease. What is the disease? Then we should find what is the cause of the disease. Then we should find out the vaccine or any treatment for the disease without having any side effects. So this Thiruvalluvar's Thirukkural has been given an idea for this COVID-19 situation also. Coronavirus disease 2019 is also called as COVID-19. It's a kind of viral pneumonia which is caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, that is SARS-CoV-2. So the virus is called as SARS-CoV-2 and this disease is called as COVID-19. It has spread globally since its discovery in Hubei province, China in December 2019, and it has spread all over 213 countries and territories around the world, reached 5 lakh confirmed cases, and in India also it has spread widely, and it reaches 1,06,878 confirmed cases, but still we have very less death rate, that is less 3% death rate. This rate is very less when compared to the world scenario. Coronavirus classification, it comes under the order Nidiovirales, and this Coronaviridae composed of coronavirus and torovirus, and this coronavirus is classified into alpha, beta, gamma, delta, in which alpha and beta coronavirus infect humans, and this SARS-CoV-2 is beta coronavirus. Coming to the naming of virus and diseases, the naming was given as SARS-CoV-2 by the Coronavirus Study Group CSG, which is a working group of the International Committee on Taxonomy of Viruses. And the World Health Organization has named this disease as COVID-19. This is the third introduction of SARS-CoV-2 virus in this 21st century, starting from SARS 2003 and MERS 2012, and this SARS-CoV-2 has been introduced in 2019. Coming to the similarity index of this SARS-CoV-2 with bat coronavirus and pangolin coronavirus. It has about 96% similarity with the bat coronavirus and 91.02% similarity to the pangolin coronavirus. To the surprising, it has 4 regions of spike proteins uniquely shared between the SARS-CoV-2 and HIV-1. This may be the reason why this HIV antibodies work against this COVID-19 patient. Coming to the structure of the SARS coronavirus 2, it has enveloped virions 120 nanometer in diameter with a helical nucleocapsid containing a non-segmented single-strand positively sensed RNA, which is of approximately 30 kilobase pair, and it has club-shaped glycoprotein spikes which is present in the envelope, giving a crown-like coronal appearance. That's why it is named as coronavirus. As it is 120 nanometer, it can be visualized only in electron microscope, and these green color particle spikes are coronavirus particles as visualized in US. And it has membrane proteins, spike protein S, nucleoproteins, and genomic RNA and hemoglobin esterase and envelope proteins. Coming to the genomic organization of SARS-CoV-2, MERS-CoV and SARS-CoV, there is similarity in the OR of 1A and OR of 1B, but there is some difference in the E gene, M gene and N gene. That's why we have to target detection in these regions. There is a very minute difference in the arrangement so that we can target these genes. So coronavirus affected patients will have symptoms such as fever, cough, difficulty in breathing, muscle pain and tiredness. And the incubation period is between 2 to 14 days. To prevent this, we have to wash our hands for about 20 seconds with soap and hot water, or we can use a 70% sanitizer gel. We should use a tissue for coughs and sneezes. If you don't have a tissue, use your sleeves. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth with unwashed hands. We should avoid close contact with people who are unwell. We have to diagnose these probable and suspected cases with clinical features in correlation with epidemiological risk factors such as contact history, travel history, occupation, place of residence, and others. Initially, before these nuclear testing has been found, a combination of computer tomography imaging, that is CT scan, whole genome sequencing, and electron microscopy were initially used to screen. The confirmed case of COVID-19 will be said if the patient shows positive on nucleic acid test or the virus has been identified by the electron microscopy or it is checked by this viral culture. This chest CT scan has high sensitivity for diagnosis of COVID-19. This report is as per the details of China given how this chest CT scan and real-time RT-PCR sensitivity. So this can be applied for detection in epidemic areas, but the CT scan is still limited for identifying specific type of viruses, whether the patient is affected with this coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2 or other virus, we can't tell. Just we can say that the patient is affected, but we can't distinguish between the viruses. For distinguishing, we have to go for real-time RT-PCR. But the current here, this is the first image shows the normal CT scan imaging, and the second image shows the rapid progression of disease. So from this we can diagnose the COVID-19 patients, and it is having less missed chance of 3.9%. This is the record with respect to the earlier China COVID-19 cases. But now the scenario is different because we have lot of patients without any symptoms. So the current challenge in COVID-19 cases is to avoid the spreading of virus by the asymptomatic persons to the close contacts. To develop this, an accurate, convenient, rapid testing of widespread deployment can aid in eliminating the silent spread of this COVID-19 by the asymptomatic viral carriers. Here comes the nucleic acid based detection, which is main, fastest and most sensitive test for the diagnosis of SARS-CoV-2 infection. So, in order to detect, we should collect the respiratory samples for nucleic acid isolation. Either we can collect from the upper respiratory samples or lower respiratory samples. Upper respiratory samples include nasopharyngeal swabs, nasopharyngeal wash and aspirates, oropharyngeal aspirates. Lower respiratory such as sputum, tracheal aspirates, and this bronchoalveolar lavages can be taken using bronchoscope. Here in India, we are taking mostly this nasopharyngeal and oropharyngeal swabs from the collection center. We have to collect the samples using sterile swabs of artificial cotton with flexible plastic shaft. We should not use calcium arginate swabs or swab with wooden shaft. After the swabs were collected dry without media or wet swabs with viral transport media, we can take the sputum, which may be viscous or non-viscous, or bronchoalveolar lavage, we can take, which is viscous or non-viscous. We have to pack it properly and label it properly, and we have to transport it to the detection place at temperature 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. For international shipment, these are the guidelines. After it reaches the detection place, the laboratory should have good laboratory practices. It should have a BSL-2 level laboratory facility, including a molecular biology setup for virological diagnosis. Class 2 biosafety cabinet, class 2 type A2, has approximately 70% of the air is recirculated using this HEPA filter, while 30% passes away and discharged out after the burning of virus. After the burning of virus.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption. The slide is partially visible, ma'am. Can you please fix it? Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry for the inconvenience. I think now it is visible. So the laboratory should have biosafety cabinet class 2 type A2, in which approximately 70%, sir, in which 70% of the HEPA filter air is circulated through the cabinet itself, and 30% passes away after the virus is burnt. The biosafety cabinet class 2 type B2 which where there is no recirculation inside a workplace, and 100% air is filtered and exhausted after the virus is burnt off. So to date, there are there are many molecular diagnostic tests, but we can utilize this real-time RT-PCR technology widely for targeting the detection of SARS-CoV-2 genomic regions, which involves detection of ORF1b, 1a regions, N gene, S gene, and RNA-dependent RNA polymerase gene or envelope genes. We can target 2 of these genes at a time to detect the COVID-19 patients. So the one-step procedure is generally used for most of the cases so that it is very quick to set up and limited sample handling and reduced bench time and decrease the pipetting errors and decrease the cross-contamination between reverse transcriptase and real-time PCR steps. So these are the different genes used by the different company members, such as RDRC, E gene, ORF1AB, S gene, N gene, ORF1A, S, N, so that we can target 2 or more genes to detect the SARS-CoV-2 virus in the patients. So coming to this PCR versus real-time PCR, both of them contain template DNA and both of them contain oligonucleotide primers. But the primers designed for real-time PCR should have a product size which is less than 200 base pairs. Both of them have DNA polymerase to amplify the product. Both of them have deoxynucleotide phosphate molecule to amplify the product. And both of them have buffers to maintain the pH and provide Mg2+. The main difference occurs here. The PCR doesn't have any probe or fluorescent dye, whereas the real-time PCR has fluorescent dye which will emit the fluorescence while the reaction is going on. When compared to the PCR and versus real-time PCR analysis, PCR is the end-point analysis. That is, in agarose gel electrophoresis, we could analyze the results after the reaction is over. But the real-time PCR analysis is real-time analysis. We can visualize the product then and there when the reaction is going on. For example, the difference between the PCR and real-time PCR is watching a cricket live in TV is real-time PCR, and watching the news of the winning team of cricket in news is called as PCR. Only the end result will be known. The real-time progression of the amplification will not be known by the PCR, but whereas the real-time amplification curve tells you the real-time progression of the results. And one more thing, although there is a difference in the copy, here there is different concentration of the RNA, but end point is coinciding. So we can't able to judge the PCR results with the concentration of DNA or RNA present. That's why we are going for real-time PCR. So instead of endpoint analysis, we are going to real-time analysis. So coming to the CP value, that is the threshold cycle, the curve, the cycle at which the curve starts the log phase. This is the log phase. The cycle at which the curve starts the log phase is called as CT value, that is threshold cycle, and it is denoted as lower CT value means higher the concentration of RNA. That in other words, CT value is inversely proportional to the concentration of the RNA. It means you should have a reduced CT value if the concentration is higher. So this real-time RT-PCR, 3 steps are involved. Sample collection, RNA extraction involves different techniques like trisol mediator and spin column mediator. We can use any of the techniques to extract your RNA. And one step real-time RT-PCR, which gives you the amplification plot like this. This will take within 3 hours, 2 to 4 hours, we can get the result. Here things to be noted are, first we have to select the gene of interest, whether from SARS-CoV-2, whether we have to take E gene, N gene, RD, RT or S gene. And next one is master mix. We have to have master mix with DNTP, stack polymerase buffers with MgCl2. Primers. Target specific complementary short oligos has to be chosen for these things. And the main thing is the product should be within 200 base pair, because there is no annealing and extension step in this real-time PCR. As it involves fluorescence, the product size should be very less, that is within 200 base pair. And next, there should be a probe, an oligo with reporter dye labeled in order to give the fluorescence emission. And we should have a reverse transcriptase enzyme to convert the RNA to complementary DNA. Then only this will be amplified. And definitely we should have an experimental duplicate, because one result will not tell you whether it is by chance or it is the correct result. So duplicate should be maintained for each and every controls as well as the patient samples. And controls should be very essential in qRT-PCR. First, we should have a non-template control or a negative control. So without template, there should not be any fluorescence. Next will be your minus RT control. Minus reverse transcriptase means that it will detect whether the sample contains any DNA contamination or not. When we isolate the RNA, whether the DNA also comes in the protocol or not. And the other one is no amplification control, which omits the DNA polymerase from the PCR reaction. So if the no reaction means it should not have any fluorescence. The main thing is positive control, that is exogenous SARS-CoV-2 RNA, so that to confirm whether the kit is working or not. The positive control of endogenous RNA-P, which is an internal control, that is the host gene. Apart from this RNA from the virus, our human RNA also isolated, and that will have this RNA-P gene, so that whether the RNA is isolated properly or not can be confirmed using this endogenous RNA-P control. And the internal normalization control by passive reference dye, ROX. So this is the protocol for multiplexing PCR. That means 2 primers identified using different fluorescent dyes at a time along with the different fluorescent probes. So this is the protocol for it. And here the reverse transcription occurs at this 55 degrees Celsius 20 minutes. That is, the RNA is converted into cDNA, complementary DNA, followed by the initial denaturation of 95 degrees Celsius 3 minutes. And the amplification cycle is simpler, so that there is only 2 steps. One is denaturation, 95 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds, and annealing and the extension taking place at the same temperature, that is 58 degrees Celsius 30 seconds, as the product size is very less, and followed by cooling. And this can be used for the further detection of amplification plot. This is the overall picture where the swab isolated from the throat and nose was taken, and the RNA is isolated using kits, and this RNA is converted into cDNA by reverse transcriptase enzyme, followed by the amplification of specific genes, S gene or N gene or E gene of SARS-CoV-2 DNA, and then the fluorescence emission once the amplification takes place, which can be detected as a amplification plot, where it can tell you the cycle, threshold cycle. The threshold cycle, the no template will not show any peak, whereas the sample shows the peak, And once the sample shows a peak before 40 cycles, means then only it will consider as positive. And then it reaches the plateau value. This ROX passive dye greatly improves the precision of replicates. If we have any sample loading difference in the replicates, means it can be normalized using ROX. For example, this difference can be normalized using ROX by reporter minus divided by ROX fluorescence, so that the final result will be the same. So that the loading difference or any other difference can be normalized using this ROX passive reference dye. This is done automatically. These are the different fluorescent dye details of different kits approved by ICMR. Different companies use different gene amplification and different fluorescent probes. And the interpretation of quantitative art reverse transcriptase PCR. It show the positive control should show positive in RDRP gene and E gene and RNase-P gene with CP value less than 38. The negative control should not show any amplification plot in RDRP gene, E gene, but it should show amplification plot in RNase-P because it should have RNA. That's why. So this result will be less than or equal to 40 CP values. Whereas no template control should not show any result in any of these genes. For a positive coronavirus patient, the RDRP and E gene and RNase-P gene should all show positive with the CP value less than or equal to 40. Whereas negative patients should show RDRP E gene negative and RNase-P positive in this test, so that the negative patients will have E gene negative, RDRP gene negative, but RNase-P positive, which is the human gene. If all the genes are negative, means it is an invalid result, something went wrong. And if there is a CP value above 40 to 45, means we have to again re-extract and resample it. And if one target RDRP shows positive or E gene positive and next other gene negative, means again we have to repeat the test samples from taking the samples again. And this is the quality checking of the obtained results. As in par with the positive control and negative control, the positive patient samples and negative patient samples will be given and the results will be produced. Troubleshooting. There should not be any marking on the tube because it involves fluorescence. We should not reuse the tips or tubes at any case. Always we have to use filter tips to avoid cross carryover contamination. Do not take the sample to PCR master mix area or room. Positive control should be added in a separate area at the end. No air bubble should be there in the PCR tube. Improper RNA extraction means there will not be any detection of genes in RNase-P. If the curve starts after the specific cutoff, that is CT value than specific, that is after 40 means, it implies that there is low viral load. We have to repeat the sample. And improper sample collection, that is proper site of collection, that is oral or this nose, whatever it is, that sample site is not proper. So ICMR has approved pooling test. Pooling test means if the community have less prevalence, less than 2% or 2 to 5% prevalence with asymptomatic patients, means we can use this pool test. We can pool 2 to 5 samples. 2 to 5 samples of RNA will be pooled and used for this analysis. If the results show negative, means all the patients are negative. If the curve shows positive, means again we have to repeat the steps for all the patients. So Here we can reduce the cost and availability of the instruments for this pool testing. Recently, this ICMR has approved for pool testing of returning migrants. Up to 25% pooling has been insisted, so that large amount of migrants can be tested with the minimum timing and expenditure. This PCR machine, how it works is, first we have to set up the PCR protocol and set up the plate layout. That there the layout tells you that which well we have put the non-template control and which well we have put the gene for the patient name, number, and then we have to set the PCR and collect the data, and further we have to analyze the data. The advantages of qRT-PCR is it is more specific, sensitive, reproducible amplification which can be monitored real time. It has wide dynamic range of quantification starting from minimum quantity to maximum quantity. It has high technical sensitivity, less than 5 copies can be detected. Requirement of 1000-fold less RNA than the conventional assays. It is highly precise and no post-PCR steps like running the gel or sequencing is necessary, and this involves low contamination risk and high throughput assay. It can be used as multiplex approach possible, and it saves lots of time. And this is how this real-time PCR works. The excitation filter will excite the lamp, halogen lamp, and whatever the fluorescence emitted will be covered by this CCD camera, and which will lead to the result. Pune-based MyLab Discovery Solution has expanded this capacity to produce 2 lakh real-time RT-PCR kits per day. This is one of the first manufacturers of RT-PCR kit which has proven to be gold standard of COVID-19 diagnosis. Government has ordered 6.3 million real-time RT-PCR kits to increase the testing capacity. There are 2 types of commercially available COVID-19 testing. One is molecular testing and another one is serological testing. Molecular testing is mostly conducted using real-time RT-PCR, whereas serological testing mostly conducted using based on the antibody produced by the immune system. Molecular testing can be done by collecting the nasal swab and isolating the RNA and converting it into cDNA and detecting using the fluorescent probes. Whereas serological testing depends upon the immune response of the own patient. Generally, after 2 days, IgM will develop, and after 9 to 11 days, IgG will be developed. That's why, if the immune response is not proper, means we can't able to detect the antibodies. That's why these rapid kits got failed because of this improper response or improper testing. The main thing is it does not detect the early detection of the virus. Only it tells you that whether your antibodies are there, but it will not used for early detection. So coming to the pros and cons of molecular and serological testing. Molecular testing is early detection of the virus. It is quick processing within hours and highly selective and specific. Whereas serological testing is rapid, low cost, used to test large population about exposure, does not require skilled person. In contrast, molecular testing requires skilled personnel and equipment necessary, real-time PCR. And it does not tell if virus is still active or not. And it cannot tell detect who have been infected and later recovered. That thing cannot be said by this molecular testing. Coming to the cons of serological testing, whether this is most prone to false negative. That is the negative about this rapid test, which is purchased from China and it is returned back by the India. So if patient deferred immune response, means it's mostly prone to false negative. That means patient may have the virus, but the result showing negative result. It cannot detect early infection. That is the most needed one, but it cannot do that. It cannot detect if patient is contagious, is still present or not. Other nucleic acid methods for detecting the SARS-CoV-2 include isothermal nucleic acid amplification based methods, nucleic acid hybridization using microarrays, and most importantly, the cheapest CRISPR based, that is clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats based methods for detecting this viral RNA. CRISPR associated enzyme, that is Cas9, has recently been adapted for rapid and portable sensing of nucleic acids. So this recombinase polymerase amplification, which is a breakthrough isothermal replacement to the PCR. So very interesting is this, it doesn't require the PCR machine to amplify the product. In the room temperature itself, it can amplify like in our system body. So it involves three enzymes: recombinase, single-stranded DNA binding protein, and polymerase. Recombinase will bind to the primers and homologous to the bound recombinase bound primers will search for the homologous sequence and bind to the target DNA, and the single-stranded DNA binding protein will displace this DNA and stabilize the D loop. And this polymerase will initiate the primer for amplification as it does in PCR. Once initiated, the amplification progress at room temperature within the minutes. So this is the breakthrough achievement as a replacement to the PCR. Here I will show how it works. The recombinase bind to the primer, search for the complementary region, and the single-stranded binding group displaces these loop, and the polymerase amplify the products. This is how the amplification process taking place within minutes at the isothermal temperature. At the same temperature, there is no difference in the temperature. So based upon this discovery, CSIR Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology has developed paper strip based COVID detection test kit, which is 3 to 4 times cheaper than the real-time PCR kit. This is how it is named as FELUDA, the FN Cas9 editor linked uniform detection assay, which is a technique that uses Cas9, a protein which is highly sensitive to the presence of mismatches within the DNA. So, to detect this SARS-CoV-2 nucleic acids, the target sequence is amplified by PCR or RPA, that is recombinase polymerase amplification using biotinylated probes, primers. So, the SARS-CoV-2 viral is amplified using biotinylated probes so that it has biotin in it. The Cas9 ribonucleoprotein contains Cas9 protein and track RNA and cRNA. This is the general RNA. cRNA is a variable to the target gene, and track RNA is static gene. So it contains three things. One is Cas9 protein, and another one is this cRNA, and another one is track RNA. Three components are there, which is FAM labeled. FAM is a fluorophore. So if this is bound to this amplified product, it will bind specifically to the product, and then it get attached to the streptavidin present in the strip. Actually, biotin and streptavidin have the affinity. So both will combine and will bound here, which where the Cas9 will activate the restriction, so that it will lead to the detection of the test virus. Whereas the control band will appear by binding to the antibody of against FAM, which is linked with the gold nanoparticles, which gives the color for the control band. This unbound FAM can be linked with this anti-FAM antibody to which is linked with the gold nanoparticle to give a common slide, whereas the specific band will be appearing after this coronavirus. This is the basis for their lateral flow assay using Feluda, showing the positions of control and test bands. Recently, Bangalore Jenny has introduced mass production of kits for COVID-19 using probeless RT-PCR diagnosis. As the probes are highly costly, they have developed the probeless RT-PCR diagnosis kit. So this is the advantages and whatever nucleic acid based diagnosis taking place in the current scenario. At this juncture, I thank all the real heroes, healthcare workers and emergency services, everything, doctors, everything. And I also thank the management and the organizing secretaries for providing me this wonderful opportunity to share my views. Thank you. Any questions? If you have any doubts, you can post it in the chat box. I hope you have understood. Hello?
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Okay.
If there are no queries, we can move to the vote of the thanks session.
Hello.
Cecil, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I'm Karthik Kumar, ma'am, from
Okay.
biotechnology student. Ma'am, actually, my doubt is, what is the minimum range of quantity it's need RT-PCR range, ma'am, of the viral DNA?
It says that even it can detect 15 picograms.
15 picogram.
15 picograms of viral RNA. That's sensitive it is having. Later we can go for the higher, if the patient is less infected also, it can be detected.
Okay, ma'am. So this is the best method to diagnose coronavirus. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Method without any instrument and RPA, without a PCR instrument it is coming. So, but the thing is, we don't have any kits or methods to follow this because it is a new technique. So once it is established means the detection will be in the on-site in all area. Without any instrument and facilities, we can detect the patients.
Okay, ma'am.
That is more advantageous, which is
Thank you.
ongoing. Thank you.
Ma'am, this is Bharti, ma'am.
Any other queries?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, one query has come. What is the alternative method instead of RT-PCR? That's what, ma'am, I told. The alternative methods includes this microarrays and recombinase polymerase amplification and the CRISPR-Cas method, which is very simple. So that this CRISPR-Cas technology in the strip itself, we can test the result whether the patient is positive or negative without any instrumental facilities, because the reaction goes on in the room temperature and the strip can be used to test whether the result is positive or negative. So that although there is advancement in abroad, recently this Feluda has come as an advancement in India, so that the startup group has initiated to take it as commercial one.
Ma'am, any other queries, ma'am?
If serological tests are carrying in COVID-19 patients, serological test we can do whether the patient has recovered from the disease, or we can test whether if we want to use the patient for plasma therapy, we can use the serological test like ELISA technique, so that in that case it is useful whether the infection has gone and whether immune power is still there or not. That is more important for plasma therapy. So in that case, we can use the serological test. So RT-PCR gives 98% accuracy only. Yes, ma'am. Whatever test we do, the accuracy level will not be 100%. So that's why if a patient is said to positive means, after recovery also they are doing 2 tests, whether they recovered or not. Not single test they said recovered. So that's how they are repeating the experiment. And one more thing, it requires replicate. So most of the time replicate. If
Hello.
there is any problem in the,
Ma'am, சொல்லுங்க.
if any problem in the sample collection or the RNA extraction, then only there will be some problem. Otherwise, as they have replicates, the concentration will be enough to detect.
Tendil sir, வேற ஏதாவது queries chat boxல இருக்கா?
1 minute. Yes, ma'am. One more question.
Yes, sir.
Bhuvaneshwari, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wait, ma'am.
How is plasma therapy done?
From Alan. How much time it will take to complete sample collection in all over India? From
sample collection all over India. Sample collection is a 5 to 10 minutes procedure. That is not an issue. But sample processing is main thing. So if the other technique, simplest technique like Feluda comes means, it will be rapid. We can test all the individuals. But sample collection, as I said, it is very simple that swab will be taken. Even we can take our own samples if we are skilled professional means. Otherwise, we can go to the collection center to collect the samples.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Tendil sir, any more queries?
No, ma'am. We will proceed with the
Okay.
vote on thanks. Okay. Thank you,
Now,
ma'am. Wonderful presentation.
Ma'am Bhuvaneshwari madam, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your wonderful presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, now I invite Dr. G. Anbarasi madam, Assistant Professor, Department of Biotechnology, to deliver the vote of thanks. Madam, please.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to one and all present here. I am Dr. G. Anbarasi, Assistant Professor of PG and Research Department of Biotechnology, Kongunadu Arts and Science College, Coimbatore. It's a great privilege to propose vote of thanks on the 4th session of webinar series of Wisdom in the field of research and innovation. I take this opportunity to thank our Honorable President, Dr. M. Aurachami sir, and our Honorable Secretary and Director, ma'am, Dr. P. Vasuki, ma'am, our beloved Principal, Dr. M. Lakshmanaswamy sir, our Honorable Chief Executive Officer, Dr. B. Chinnusamy sir, our Dean R&D, Dr. Paulasamy sir, and our Dean Academics, Dr. S.R. Madan Shankar sir, for giving us an opportunity and their continuous support to organize this webinar series in this pandemic situation. Once again, thank you all. I extend my thanks to our convener of this webinar series, Dr. G. Vijayalakshmi ma'am, coordinator, Dr. M. Vignesh and the organizing secretary of this event, Dr. M. Revati Bala and Mr. N. Sithil Kumar. Thank you all. On behalf of the Kongunadu Arts and Science College, I extended a very hearty vote of thanks to the today's session speaker, Dr. V. Bhuvaneshwari ma'am, for your inspiring speech on existing nucleic acid-based diagnostic tool for pandemic diseases. Ma'am, really your talk motivated us to develop more novel molecular diagnostic kits for human healthcare in this pandemic situation. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my big thanks to all the participants for your active participation in this event. Once again, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Anbarasi Madam, for your wonderful vote of thanks. All the participants are requested to present for the next session by 11:45 a.m. For next resource person will be Dr. Tirunjana Sambandam, Department of Botany. Thank you.